You are listening to Down Home.
So next up is Zamani.
When researching local Halifax singer and songwriter Zamani, I came across her introduction before her performance for Black Vibes presented by Ansma.
So Zamani is an artist that does it all. She doesn't only write and sing the songs that she makes, she also produces and engineers everything you hear her sing. She's performed in Europe, the US, the Caribbean, where she opened for pop legends UB40 and shared the stage with the likes of Estelle from the UK, Genuine and Maya, who are two veterans of the R&B world. She picked up the East Coast Music Award for African Canadian Artist of the Year. So you don't want to miss out on hearing this rising international talent.
I couldn't agree more. Talking with Zamani filled me and Jay with hope and pride. This talented young Scotian gives us hope for the next generation down home, and she also fills us with pride. This talented young sister is Scotian through and through. Welcome to Down Home, the Nova Scotian experience by two black men. I am Derek Wise. And as always, we have Mr. Jay Jones.
What's happening?
And our conversation this week is with singer-songwriter Zamani. How you doing, Zamani?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Good. You're really busy. We figured that out. Like, you're a very busy young woman. I think we caught you in a reading week. What are you studying in university?
So I am currently in my third year of my Bachelor of Community Design. And I intend to go into architecture after this. And it's actually a really interesting program. I really enjoy it because it combines my love of art with a kind of like practically applied profession. And aside from music, I paint and I make jewelry. I love photography. So anything creative is my avenue.
Very creative. Wow.
Yeah.
You're a Renaissance woman.
I mean, I'll take the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I'm learning a lot, especially because it's one of those things where you look around in your city and you can apply all the knowledge like right there, right in your city. And interesting to like kind of just go around and look at things and say, that's, look at this new development they're making over here, and look how the city's changing, and apply what I've learned. And I think it's really fun, and I'm excited to do architecture after I graduate. I'm very excited.
That's cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's so much changes going on in Halifax as far as everything building up. So you're right on point.
Yeah, it's changing very quickly too.
Yeah.
It's now you mentioned your music, of course. The influences that when you were growing up to actually kind of swing some of your artistic juices over to music. What was your inspiration? Like, where did you draw inspiration from? It
started off with jazz music. Like, that was my first, I always say this, that was my first love in music. I always went to bed to jazz music. And in the morning times, we would listen to like classical on the way to school. Because my mom always said that classical music like woke up your brain, and jazz music like would calm your mind and help you rest and go to sleep. So it's always classical in the morning, jazz at night. And then kind of like as I got older and I got a phone and everything, and we have access to all these music streaming platforms, I started to kind of like develop my own music interests, and I discovered a lot of really interesting artists from all over the world, like Tyler the Creator. He's like a big influence for me because he's self-taught. Like his piano, he's self-taught. And it's like really inspiring because I did piano for a few years, but I didn't really keep up with it. But then it kind of reminds me, like I can figure it out along the way. Certainly Erykah Badu is a big influence on me. My parents always played her a lot in
Yeah,
the
you can
car.
hear that in your music, definitely.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I just absolutely adore her artistry, because it doesn't just stop with music for her. Like her whole entire like persona is just like so intriguing. In terms of like modern, or before, I guess this artist isn't like necessarily like super modern because she's been out for a while, but Layla Hathaway, I love her voice. She's got such a like deep, rich tone, and I've kind of like a lower voice, so I lean on her for inspiration when it comes to like how to attack certain notes and certain runs. But yeah, other than that, I find that I really love UK artists as well. Something about UK music that is just different from North American music. Like there's an artist by the name of Leanne Havas.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh God, I love her so much. And she plays the guitar and the bass, and she's just like so cool. Like, I don't know, she just seems like such a cool person. I would love to like hang out with her and just like go out to lunch, you know?
Yeah.
And Tiana Major 9, and of course Floetry. Love me some Floetry.
Oh, Floetry. That's they're really, really cool.
They are.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Now, are there any Scotian influences in there somewhere, even if it's like on a local level? Anything there?
Yeah. My parents are like, they are both musical, and they push me into this music and help me they noticed that I had an interest in music already, and then they helped me take it to the next level. So my mother was leader of the a cappella quartet For the Moment, which toured all over Canada and Europe, and like that's obviously like such an inspiration. Yeah. I love hearing the stories of like, they opened for Maya Angelou in Toronto, I think, when my sister was young, or I was like 2, I think.
Yeah.
So it was just such a cool story to hear about growing up. I mean, Maya Angelou is like iconic, and we love her, and so that's amazing. I also am very inspired by. Oh, I forgot to mention, sorry, that my dad is a jazz guitarist, and so his influence on me was like the kind of production side of things, whereas my mother's influence on me was on my voice and my songwriting. My father is you see the studio that I'm in right now, this was his studio.
Yeah, cool.
I grew up and took it over, and he's all busy, so I'm keeping it running while he's got work to do. So yeah, I love production, and I'm trying to teach myself some instruments more. And yeah, I think other than that, my friends, some of my friends who make music inspire me, because just watching them like go at it, I think just knowing that we have each other as support helps me to carry on and to keep doing it, and also bouncing ideas off of each other, looking to each other for experience and ideas for songwriting. I think is really important.
Yeah. Just before you get started there, I was listening to a few of your songs on YouTube, and it really gave me transported me back in my little coupe back in the early 90s, like that soulful feel, like pumping some Erykah Badu or whatever in my tape, in my cassette player.
Baduism.
Yeah, so it's just awesome. Like it's great. Very great.
Yeah.
If you could read my mind, you would question everything that's in there. If you could take some time away from your paradise, just give it some thought for a minute, and maybe you'll understand how I'm really feeling. 'Cause I know I'm not alone when I say I
For the moment, so it was a quartet, wasn't it?
Yes.
And Anne-Marie Woods, was she one of them? Or
What? My auntie Anne-Marie?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
my
We interviewed her last year as well. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's so cool. Nova Scotia sort of has that connection of you know, generations. Like it's passed down, and you're carrying that torch. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope to even pass that down to some of like my younger cousins and other Black girls in the community who are striving to do music, because I think it's really important to have someone, like, to see someone looking like you who's doing it and comes from the same place that you come from. It makes a world of a difference. And yeah.
And also to yourself, and expression is very important. So, I mean, you come from a long line of people who express themselves that way. So it's natural for you. Yeah,
definitely.
Now, Derek and I are a little bit older. We've been away from Nova Scotia for a little while, you know. But what is it like as a young Black woman growing up down home with everything going on, like your community, the music industry? Like, what is it like for you as a young Black woman?
I think things are really headed in a really good direction. In terms of the music scene here in Nova Scotia, I mean, I just came back from Nova Scotia Music Week, and there was a panel called "Breaking Down Racial Barriers," and we talked about some of the issues that Black artists face in the East Coast and across the country and even beyond, and how it's important for us to start to take on those kind of leadership positions, as opposed to just being the artist. I mean, that's obviously amazing. Our music has like changed the world. Our music is what's kind of, I feel like our music is the soundtrack to the world. And so it's really important for us to not only just be in those positions, but to also be the leaders in the music industry, where we can, be the ones to make the decisions for Black artists, as opposed to people who don't look like us making decisions for us. And so this conversation is like really coming to the forefront. And I'm sensing a lot of change happening. There are a lot more Black people being involved in some of the music associations here on the East Coast. And I'm happy to see that. I'm also happy to see like highlighting female producers. I actually just did an interview. Oh my goodness, I can't remember if it was CBC or, but myself, Renee Smith, Bria Isabel, and Aaron Costello, we did an interview where we just kind of talked about what it's like to be females in music and how it's such a male-dominated space, and just what it's like to be doing our own thing, having to kind of teach ourselves and rely on ourselves, and just the power that it holds, being able to be self-sufficient, and hoping, to be able to pass that on to the next generation as well. So yeah, I definitely feel as though we're headed in a really good direction, and I'm excited to see some more of the Black artists coming up out of Nova Scotia. I really feel like soon it's going to happen really soon. We're going to have somebody that gets really big. I hope I'm one of those people. So
yeah, well, it's you're on your way. Your music really is really cool, and it also has that sensibility of that sort of old school dynamic a little bit, with that neo soul kind of feel, and it's very soulful and from the heart from some of the songs that I checked out. So and it sounds like you're surrounding yourself with good people who are on the same level.
That's important. That's important. The people around you are important. That's your words are very encouraging. It because we've been so away for so long. Like Jay was kind of in the music scene a little bit back in the day, but I'm sure there's been some changes, and it sounds like the changes have been encouraging. That's really great.
Absolutely.
So Now the big question is, since the racial reckoning of 2020 with George Floyd put a lens on everything, and I think everyone sort of looked at things a little bit differently. We're in a pandemic, less distraction. So boom, and social media, everything was there. It was right in our face. What sort of changes do you think have you seen in sort of race relations in Nova Scotia, and what's changed for you?
When the incident occurred with George Floyd, because it was during a pandemic, just like you mentioned, there was no way for people to just kind of carry on with their lives and just pretend like it didn't happen. Which has happened. There has been so many. This is not the first. This is not the first. And so it took a global pandemic for people to actually sit and realize what's going on in the global Black community. And so here in Halifax, we had a protest on Spring Garden Road. And so even though it was a pandemic, people showed up. The numbers were so great, and I felt very emotional just to see so many people show up in solidarity and support. Even in the middle of a pandemic, everybody was masked up, and just, there were speakers. And also afterward, there was kind of like this celebration of life where some people played music. It was kind of controversial. Some people felt like they shouldn't have. Some people were like, it was, but from my viewpoint, it was kind of one of those things where I was like, as Black people, we're really tired and we're upset. And it was a celebration of life in Black culture. And it felt good to be around other Black people. And for us to celebrate life together, especially since so many people are losing their lives from, because of racism and even because of COVID-19. And so, I think that since then, not only have white people kind of had an awakening, but I feel like even some Black people have kind of had an awakening because, as someone who's like this middle class Black people, there's a certain level of separation from the kind of experiences that other Black people are going through, especially in Canada too, and in Nova Scotia, because we have such a strong Black community and population. There's a history of us feeling strong together. Yeah. And so that's a good thing. But also, the later generations have kind of become a little bit separated from that. And I feel like this has really helped us to see the severity of the situation. And kind of similar to what I said about more Black people being involved in these music associations, I think in general, more Black people are being reached out to and asked for consultation on how to proceed in our society and in our city, and how to be a better Halifax, Yeah.
So you actually see a tangible change around you, that's
a lot of work, sure, but there's still a lot of work to do. But I do see an effort to making that change, and a lot more emphasis on equity and diversity. And I'm hoping to really see, within the next 5-10 years, I want to be able to look back at now and be like, wow, look what's changed, Yeah.
And that this is kind of like a flashpoint, and we've gone forward from here. That's hopefully that does happen.
Yeah, and it's so important for people like you, the younger generation, to come up with that mentality of it. There is lots of work to do, and there's lots of pain. There's lots of things that have always happened during the past. But even for Derek and I, when we started started this podcast, it was kind of based on what happened with George Floyd. And then we sort of looked at our Nova Scotian history and realized the community that we came from and how strong we were. And we wanted to lend our voice to a conversation of even just having these conversations to, like, who knows what's going to happen, but nothing changes unless it's faced, right? So we have to keep going on. And you know, I give so many kudos to you for having that kind of head on your shoulders to see that, you know, you are coming up and you have a voice and a platform where you can add to these things, and together with the people that you're already sort of getting together with already, you know. So
Jay's spouting a little bit of James Baldwin there.
Yeah. Well, you know, hey, we got to learn from a past too. You know what I mean?
We do, and you know, even so the a cappella quartet that my mother was a part of was very vocal on race issues and also gender issues. And so that is like ingrained within me. And my father is actually not from here. He's from St. Lucia. He's from the Caribbean.
Okay.
And so we kind of would have these conversations about the difference between his upbringing in a place that's predominantly Black and my mother's upbringing having to, you know, grow up in a place where at first it was segregated, and then when she was, you know, around like grade 2 age, then schools were integrated, and what that was like. And so these kind of conversations are something that I'm very like conscious of, and I'm constantly relating to what I'm seeing and putting things into perspective.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, so just a personal question, like what's in your heart as far as what you want to get across in your music? Like, what do you want people to see and what do you want to put forth? Yeah.
I think, so start off the bat, Black girl magic, you know, you have to shine and show our beauty and our creativity through music. I just love how music is not just about the music, but it's about like culture. And so, you know, when I've read a song, I'm not just thinking about the song, I'm thinking about all the other parts and pieces that come along with that, like the artwork that will go with the song, you know, visuals, video, what kind of clothes I'm gonna wear, and that stuff is impactful in its art in its own respect as well. And so I wrote a song last summer, and it's about Black hair, and just it's magic, and so it's so powerful, and how it's like a crown, and you know, like don't touch a Black woman's hair. You know, that's the rule of thumb. No. So I just wanted to write about how our hair is like our lineage, and we've been told from young that it's not beautiful, and that it's untamed, it's messy, but like we're not taking that, you know, we're not taking that anymore. So that's one thing. And also, I think I'm very shy, even though I might not seem like it, but I, especially when I was in like elementary and junior high, was painfully shy. And I had like 1 or 2 friends, and I wouldn't really branch out outside of that, especially since I went to a really small private school, 10 years. And then I finally in high school transferred to a public school, and I was like, oh God, oh no, I have to talk to people, I have to start fresh, I have to make friends. I've never had to do that before. And so some of my songwriting really comes from that experience of just being somebody who struggles to make social interactions, and how frustrating it can be to be really shy and quiet and not really know how to get the words out or how to like make friends, feeling outcast at sometimes for whatever reason, whether it's based on my race or whether it's based
Mhm.
on just like, today I feel timid, so
Yeah.
I don't feel like talking.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just kind of the things that go through my head. And then of course, you know, we love a good love song. So I
Of
also
course.
put that out right away.
Well, that's-
I'm passive aggressive, passionately regressing into friendship. I'm scared to be honest. I don't know what you want, and now I've learned my lesson. I'm building my walls up, 'cause I'm feeling jaded about all the love we were making. I want more than attention. Can I get your affection? And baby, can you let me know what's your intention? Maybe I loved you too much, too soon, too hard, too confidently. Tiny butterflies in my stomach dancing around my truth, 'cause I'm too scared.
Well, that's cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Zamani, this conversation has been very good. You're an inspiring young person that it makes me feel happy that you're part of the next generation in Halifax and Nova Scotia, and that the community's in good hands.
Yeah.
That's
For
great.
sure. Yeah.
Jay Jones, take us out, man.
Yeah, well, just to go with what Derek said, it's very good to see where things are going for you, and what's really cool is seeing how you were saying you struggled with this and being shy, but you were able to find this platform where you could find that part of yourself where you could say what you wanted to say and express yourself. So keep that going, because that's a very empowering thing. And we as people need to be empowered. And it's so good for us to see the example of someone who can stand in themselves, even beyond what is going on in their own little world. They can take that step forward to add to their power. So it's been very impressive to hear what you do. It was cool to meet your mom and know that we're all sort of connected and we're just doing our thing. So continue to do you, girl, and keep on keeping on.
So much. Thank you so much for having me. You guys are so cool. You're awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground.
You have been listening to Down Home. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
Breaking new ground, 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 yeah.
The songs Outside and Too Much Too Soon featuring Harvey Miller are courtesy of Zamani. For more information, check out the show notes.
Reaching all aspects, getting deep, no time to sleep as you reach your next phase, laying it all on the line. New trails start to blaze, it's a fire inside, a brand new path.
The song Breaking New Ground from The Breakdown.
A connection so strong, transcribed with the vibe like magic prescribed. Only to see the perfect blend, like a diamond in the rough, ready to drop a perfect gem.